Started.
I'm going to call the Board of Selectmen special meeting to order. Today is Monday, June 1st, and this is a meeting of the Board of Selectmen. Can we please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay. Item number 3 is purchasing authority. To hear and consider and authorize the purchasing authority to enter into a proposed contract with Wright Pierce for a third-party engineering services concerning the review of the proposed design of the East Trunk sewer improvements per RFP 2020-78 in an amount not to exceed $39,450. Funding for this contract is available in account, and then the number is listed. Can I get a motion to approve?
This is Nancy. I'll move to approve the item.
Second.
Okay, discussion? Do we have someone on the line who's discussing this?
This is Gerald Foley. If you want, I can provide a brief overview.
Yes, please, Gerald. Thank you.
You're welcome. So what this is we the town had gone out to basically for a proposal to have a company design the East Trunk sewer improvements. When the plans and specs came back, the cost of the project was much higher than we anticipated. So the consensus is that we have a third party review that design and basically vet it and come back to us with what they think is wrong or right or whatever with the design, with the end result being to make the cost of the project less expensive. So what you have before you is we're basically asking a request to hire this company, Wright Pierce, to look at that design and to come back to the town with a report giving us their comments and recommendations concerning that. There may be some other, either Chris Rogers or Brian Carey might have other comments, but that's like kind of a high-level review.
Yeah, Brian Carey's on the phone as well, and Gerald basically summed it up perfectly. This is to third-party review of the engineering firm who did complete the design.
So this is Tom. I have a question, if I might. So I'm assuming this relates to a project that we approved a few months back, correct?
About a year and a half ago, I believe. East Trunk sewer line was back in, I don't have the exact date, but it's been, I think, more than 2 years that this project has been under design.
And did we approve, what was before us related to this just a couple months back, Brian? Because I remember talking about the sewer lines again.
What was before you in the past was the East Trunk, or the Easton Pump Station. This project has only been provided in the Capital Waterfall. We haven't come back for any additional requests for funding for this at this time.
So it sits under the original request of a couple of years back?
Yes, but we have never gone through a full approval process for this project.
Okay, so I'm confused. Yeah, no, I'm confused now. So 2 years ago, what did we approve?
You approved the grant. You approved the grant from the DECD, which was $750,000 to fund a portion of the cost, which was the design of the project. I'm just looking at my notes right now. So that grant has been used to fund the design, and I'm trying to just one moment. We've had a grant with Cardinal Engineering to do the design work. They came back with their design. We reviewed it with the WPCA. We thought it was much higher than what was necessary, to get the project completed, so we brought it back to the WPCA.
Okay, give me numbers on that. So what did you expect it to be, and where did it come out?
That's what it was millions of dollars more,
Right.
but I'm just trying to.
I can weigh in a little bit. This is Chris Rogers. So the original project was proposed at $2.5 million. With the $750,000 grant, WPCA was going to fund $1.75 million. That was the original proposal.
Okay.
So the cost went up with their engineer estimate to almost $5 million from the original $2.5. We think that's higher than what it should be, and that's where we're getting the third-party engineer in to review and vet that.
And how does this money come out to who's paying for this third-party engineer? I know it says it's in an account. Where? Like, is this operating budget? Is this part of the grant? What is it?
This is coming out of the WPCA fund balance.
Okay, so this is part of the fund balance. Now, this is an integral project that needs to be done by what time?
As soon as possible, like everything else. I mean, that's always the answer, but very soon. There's issues with the line, with capacity, and it leads basically from the Metro Center property all the way down to Riverside Drive. The reason for the cost being higher than we anticipated is a lot of utility infrastructure that exists on the post road, as well as the depth of the sewer line having to be installed requires temporary shoring. That's where the costs they've accelerated because of the additional shoring. We think it's a bit over-designed, and that's basically what our engineer, the third party, is going to review, water handling and shoring, to see if there's a way to do it differently and cheaper.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So this is not an optional project overall?
No.
And it took 2 years to get kind of an engineering design complete or so?
I believe it was about 18 months.
And then you went out to bid with the project, and it was a $5 million number, is what you
No, we have not gone out to bid,
okay,
because we saw the number from the engineer's estimate and the engineering plans, and we thought it was in excess of where it needs to be and where it should be. And before we go out to bid with a plan, we're not necessarily in agreement. We want to have another party review it and tell us if they agree or disagree with that.
So so let's say they come back and they disagree. What's next steps after that?
They're going to author a report to us, and the next step after that is whether we ask the engineering firm Cardinal to go back and amend their plans based on the third-party review, or truthfully, we just take the plans from Cardinal and give them to the other engineer to make corrections and changes and move forward with the new engineer. That has not been decided yet.
Let me ask you a question on that. That was all to be paid out of the $750 grant, is that correct?
Correct.
How much of that $750 grant is left, and will this just be incremental cost to that?
I have to look at the numbers.
I have those numbers. Cardinal Engineering, the original bid was $127,200. So we could take that off of the $750.
Okay, so there's plenty of room left in order to do this, and this redesign probably doesn't cost that $127. Is that a fair assumption?
That is a fair assumption, yes.
Yeah.
I believe Dennis Divert's on the line as well from Wright Pierce, so he might be able to weigh in on that issue.
I don't know if he's in.
No, it's okay.
Okay. So we're going to have some amount of money left for that $750, and whatever amount of money left to that $750, I would assume, goes towards the overall cost of the project after the design element is complete. Is that fair?
That's correct.
And we have enough money, we're somewhere between 5 million and 2.5 million, and this is before we go out and get bids from the actual contractors that'll do the work, right?
That's correct. So there's been a tendency in the past to put a number to a project, then go out to bid, and the number comes in, and then we have to go back. So I think at this point, we would go out to bid and then bring this through the commissions if we thought the number was appropriate.
Great.
Any other questions, or?
No, I'm, as
Hello?
as a commissioner,
Am I there?
all this, I have no more questions. Or as a board member, rather.
Thank you, Nancy. Okay, so, for seeing no questions, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. The motion carries. And the next item is number 4, purchasing authority. To hear, consider, and authorize the purchasing authority to enter into the proposed contract with First Student for student transportation service per RFP 2020-33, effective 7/1/2020 through 6/30/2025, pursuant to the pricing schedules outlined in Exhibit A of the contract document. Do I have a motion to approve? Hello? Nancy and Tom, are you on the line?
Yeah, I moved the item.
Yeah, I just,
Phone went dead.
Okay. You move the item, Nancy?
Yes.
Hello? Hello?
Yes, we hear you.
Sorry, my phone went dead. So I missed that item.
You gotta turn one of your phones off, because you have an echo.
It is. It is.
Oh. Okay, you didn't hear the item?
No, sorry.
Item number 4, to hear, consider, and authorize the purchasing authority to enter into proposed contract with First Student for student transportation services per RFP 2020-33, effective 7/1/2020 through 6/30/2025, pursuant to the pricing schedules outlined in Exhibit A of the contract document. And Nancy made a motion to approve.
I'll second it.
Okay, I open it up for discussion.
Do we have anyone
Nance, do you want to go?
Well, I was just going to say, is there anyone on the line from Board of Ed that just wants to do oversight or overview?
Mike Cummings is here, thank you. Doreen Munsell is with me as well, and I believe Christine Vitale is with us. Just that we would ask the Board of Selectmen's consideration for this item. This item has been in negotiation for a while, and much of it was settled, but we've worked with the town to ensure that the contract met both Board of Ed and the town's specifications. I turn to Doreen or Christine if they want to add anything to that.
Christine Vitale, Chair of the Board of Ed. No, nothing to add to that. Just ask you to please, approve this contract today. We're just anxious to get moving forward on this. Thank you.
This is Doreen Munsell, Executive Director of Finance and Business Services. I can give you the overview. We had a committee, and we went out to RFP last fall. We received 5 proposals. We interviewed 3 finalists and asked for best and final offer. And the committee is recommending that we stay with the incumbent First Student.
Okay, this is Tom. I've got a few questions, if I might. So a few months back, I was asked to come into the Board of Ed offices. I went in with Tom Bremer to look at this. Is this the exact same contract and same financial terms and conditions that we looked at several months ago?
Doreen Montel, yes, it is.
And First Student, as I recall, was not the cheapest bidder, but there was some concerns with the cheapest bidder over the ability to do the job. Is that correct?
Yes, that's correct.
And the differential was several $100,000 at that point. Did that maintain itself?
Yes.
Okay. There's been further discussions over what's happened this year with the impact of COVID on transportation and an amendment to that agreement pursuant to the governor's actions. Where does that amendment stand today? I know we talked about it late last week. I just wanted to get an update on where the amendment stands because I thought we might see that. Maybe this is for Mr. Baldwin. I thought maybe we'd see the amendment at today's meeting or something.
Yeah, this is Attorney Baldwin. That amendment is not before you, but it is ready to go before you, certainly between now and the next meeting, Board of Selectmen meeting. That will happen.
So and that amendment will have some type of bearing on this contract only to the standpoint of any reductions in expense due to the services this year, due to not having the services due to the government's action, will be applied as a credit against next year's contract. Is that fair to say? I understand that.
Those are the terms of that are set forth in that amended agreement, which will come before you in a couple of weeks.
Okay. The other terms of this contract, are they substantially the same as the contract that we're just exiting with First Student?
For the most part, I think that's correct. There were changes made, but they were just basically in the form of improvements to the language and the terms, clarifications. It's substantial.
But there was no substantial changes to the business terms other than the price points and such to the service terms other than what the school district asked for. Is that correct?
That's my understanding. I can let Doreen speak to that further.
Yeah, this is Doreen. Are you asking about a comparison of this year's the current contract that we're under with the new contract?
I am, Doreen. Yes, thank you.
Okay, yes. There's a few changes. We tweaked the average fleet age. We still have software in the new contract, but we're going to be able to do our own reports off of it. It's structured a little bit differently. And there's a parent portal in the new contract, which we haven't had before, which is a big improvement. I think that's about the essence of the changes.
I appreciate that. Thank you. And I want to publicly thank Mrs. Manzel for all her hard work relative to this year's contract and the COVID impact and all that. There's a tremendous amount of effort. It's a very detailed contract. And she worked very hard to put that all together. And I want to, publicly extend my appreciation for meeting with myself and others to discuss that contract, to walk us through it, and to walk through the implications on the COVID crisis. So thank you very much for that.
I don't have any additional questions. This is Nancy.
Okay. All right. If there aren't any additional questions, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. The motion carries unanimously. Well, thank you, Superintendent and Board of Ed Chair and Doreen. We only have one more item, so if you, unless you want to stay on, you're more than welcome to get back to your days if you'd like.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you. Take care.
Thank you.
Okay, so item number 6 is to hear a update on COVID and any other town updates. I sent out a newsletter, I'm assuming, and it's been posted on the website and on social media, just kind of how our reopening phase 1 went in the town with the outdoor seating for our restaurants and our retail shops. We had we worked quite hard, the town building department and our zoning department, fire marshal and such, all worked really well with the restaurants to make sure that they had their permits turned around within 1 to 2 days. We didn't charge any fees for any of the permits for the extended outdoor dining for restaurants, so they could, move quickly and be able to open their restaurants more fully. We got very good feedback for the most part about the soft reopening, and it seemed to go fairly well. What else can I talk to you about? We extended the beach openings to allow residents to use chairs and blankets and things of that nature. We opened the bathrooms at the beaches more fully when we've got additional guidance from the governor on cleaning protocols. They're being cleaned twice a week. Brian Carey's looking into adding a third cleaning day to the beach bathrooms. And so far it's gone fairly well. Obviously, there are some people who don't, maintain the social distance quite as well as we'd like. And there's been some complaints, but we do have lifeguards on duty, and we do have law enforcement as well at all the beaches. On Saturday, I got a call from Chief Liddy to alert me that Bridgeport had put in a request for backup mutual aid from our police department due to a large protest that was scheduled to be around the Bridgeport Police Department. So they dispatched our law enforcement there, and also to specific areas in Fairfield to ensure that if anything was coming, they weren't sure if it was going to be spilling in to Fairfield, and they weren't sure how widespread or if there was going to be any kind of violence involved. So they just wanted to secure and make sure that our community was safe and our businesses were safe. They did stay there the whole time. I went down to the command center, and I spent most of the day in early evening there. I was really quite impressed with our law enforcement in the field and in the command center during this. It was stressful. I was really worried about our people, but I'm glad everything went well and no one was injured on either side. We did get some, we're getting some reports, the police department is getting some initial reports about protests maybe happening here in Fairfield. We're not sure about them yet, but they're monitoring that sort of thing. And as far as phase 2, we're getting prepared. The emergency operations team is preparing for the phase 2 reopening, which includes a bit more detail and openings, and to make sure that everybody's on board and is safe and we have what we need. Anthony Calabrese is still reviewing these camp protocols and regulations, and working with the school administration on what buildings we'd be able to actually use and access, and other buildings in town that we may be able to use, because the restrictions are such, and they've changed a bit now too. The governor recently on Friday, just as I was sending out the newsletter, expanded the indoor amount of people that could be. So we have to now calculate that this week to figure out how that will impact the camp experience. So that's still not completely finished. It's a little bit more complicated than most people would think. What else? Tonight's the RTM final budget vote on WebEx, and I think about it. Oh, I just want to announce, though, that we worked the last couple weeks with the school administration, and I want to thank Tom Flynn for going to a meeting with Attorney Baldwin and my CAO, Tom Bremer, to the education offices on Friday morning to discuss and look over some of the bus numbers, and that we were able to realize more savings in our bus contracts on the education side and also as on the town side. which resulted in quite a bit of savings for the town. And we were able to also work on our end and be able to present to the RTM enough cuts equaling $1.17 million in reductions that resulting in a 0% tax increase for the residents of Fairfield. So I'm hopeful that this will pass unanimously tonight through our RTM, and we'll be able to we'll start tomorrow with the business of getting back to leading the town and doing the good work of the people of Fairfield.
Great. Thank you.
Did anyone
Hey,
have any questions?
I do, actually, because I thought the camps, Park and Rec already sent out notifications that the camps for this summer were canceled, and I thought there was going to be perhaps some type of replacement of some type of child care available. Am I to take it from the comments that the camps may not actually be canceled, or are kind of our typical camps in fact canceled for the summer?
No, they didn't send out anything that it was canceled. They had just
I
sent
thought
out.
They had.
No, they had sent out a survey asking what people would want and things of that nature. But no, they were just trying to figure out items, how to actually produce a camp under the guidelines. And so it's been a little bit more complicated. So they sent a survey out to people who have signed up for camp in the past, like last year and before that, just to get a sense of what kind of, would they be still interested if the camp looked differently than it has in the past. And so that's what people are still aware of, that's happening.
Oh, I thought, to be honest, based on some of the comments and the discussion that I had heard in phone calls I got, that people took it that camps were actually canceled. So I don't know if there's some confusion out there.
No, I mean, Anthony has all the email addresses to everybody who signed up for camp last year and has been communicating with them. And it's all been posted, too, on his site. They're just trying to determine how we're going to be able to give something under these guidelines.
Understand. The only other thing is for the COVID stuff, when we can, and I know the month of May just ended and they're going through the month-end close, love to see the financial impact of COVID once it's been calculated through at least the end of May, so that we understand any additional costs or what have you.
Sure, they're keeping a list of it because we intend to submit all of this for reimbursement.
Exactly. Yep. That's exactly.
And I just realized that I skipped over to item number 5, so I apologize for that. Item number 5, to consider and act upon tax refunds as recommended by the tax collector in the amount of $30,289.29. Do I have a motion to approve?
I'll move it.
And I'll second it.
Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
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 All righty. Well, I guess a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you, guys. And I don't know if you're signing in to the meeting tonight. Do you have instructions if you want to?
Jen actually sent them out. It was very nice of her.
Oh, okay. All right, great.
Thank you so much.
All right,
Bye-bye.
thanks, guys. Have a good day.